Hi there, good noon, and we meet each other once again to continue our journey of becoming better with every passing day, moving closer and closer to our targets. So this time around, I am going to work on CMAT reading comprehension passages. But that said, this is a session that will be immensely useful for anybody who wants a bit of reading comprehension practice, especially if you are targeting exams like Maharashtra CET or CMAT. So even if you are a CAT 23 aspirant and you're beginning this journey, starting this journey, I am sure the practice will be good for you. And in case you happen to have any questions, any concerns, anything that comes to your mind whatsoever, make sure that you ask those in the comment box down below, and I'd keep an eye out on that. And before I dive into the passages, let me quickly reorient you to the world of CMAT. So CMAT is an exam where you get 3 hours, 180 minutes, and in these 180 minutes, you're supposed to go through 100 questions. You get +4 for every right, -1 for every wrong, and in this exam, you'll find 5 sections with 20 questions each. One of those sections is language comprehension, which is English, and within English there's a fairly large variety of questions that we get. So you get questions based on vocab, grammar, RC, and sentence jumbles / para jumbles. And today we plan to focus on the reading comprehension aspect of the language comprehension section. So I welcome you to BYJU'S Exam Prep channel dedicated to your success in the B School exams. If you've not subscribed to our channel, please do subscribe so that we meet each other by design and not by accident. Don't forget to press the bell icon so that you get to know when we go live. My name is Vikrant. I'm your personal coach who helps you in scoring more marks, in overcoming all the obstacles that the examiner can throw in your path when it comes to English. And I've been teaching for 22 years. In these 22 years, I have coached thousands of students and received immense love and amazing feedbacks from the significant majority there. I hope that my experience, my expertise will be quite helpful to you. Hi Amritanshu. Then Amit, how much marks is needed for JB? Okay, I've created a dedicated video where I talked about CMAT colleges along with their cutoffs. You can go ahead and check that out. It's already there. Marks will be a little tricky because it all depends on the difficulty level of the examination, especially that section on innovation or entrepreneurship that has changed the equation slightly. Okay, but as I said, we have dedicated sessions that talk about colleges and their cutoffs. You can go ahead and check those out. Hi Vaidehi, what's up? So let us go ahead and dive into reading comprehension. Now, when we talk about CMAT, overall, if I look at it traditionally, reading comprehension has been easy. So recent past tells us that when it comes to RC, you can get somewhere between 1 to 4 passages. So for example, when I talk about last year, 22, we had just 1 RC passage. When I talk about 21, we had 4 RC passages. When I talk about CMAT 2020, we once again had just 1 RC passage. And when you have 1 RC passage, the difficulty level could be high. I'm saying could because in 2020, the passage was a little bit challenging. But if I look at 21 with 4 passages, easy. 22 with just 1 passage, even that passage turned out to be easy. And do expect vocabulary based questions in reading comprehension. That's something that we do not normally see in the CAT, and therefore we at times end up ignoring that aspect of RC. So you can get even vocabulary based questions. So let's get ready. Here is your first passage on the screen. The moment you are done reading it, just drop in a quick yes in the comment box down below and I'll take you forward. Yes, Shubham, absolutely. We are basically going to work on reading comprehension. So if you are appearing for even those exams which are non-CAT but involve reading comprehension, So if you talk about SSC, you talk about bank PO, you talk about defense exams, right? You do get RCs there, so you definitely find it useful. So don't forget to drop in a yes the moment you have read the passage. Sakshi, we definitely cover the complete syllabus of CMAT, but here when I talk about YouTube, we'd be able to give you some insight into the exam and a lot of practice, yes. So, waiting for a yes to drop in. And if somebody from the team is here, can you look at the exact cutoffs for the last year and maybe share it in the comment box so that people know the kind of effort they need to put in. You need to bring in your A game if you want to get through JBIMS, huh? So guys, done? Fantastic. Okay, so here is the next paragraph. There's one more slide. Shubham, until we get a notification, it is 18th and 19th of this month. Done? Okay, taking you over to the last part of the passage. Here, if somebody from my team is here asking for a shameless plug, you remember the session that we had where we talked about CMAT colleges along with their cutoffs? Could you just share the link once again? So that people at least know about the top few colleges along with the kind of cutoffs that they're expected to have. कर दो यार थोड़ा, मेरे लिए भी आसान हो जाएगा. So shall we start with the questions? Bima Anas. Yeah, I haven't gone through a book which was specifically written for CMAT. Maybe there are some out there that I'm not aware of, but typically anything that you use for exams like CAT and XAT is going to be useful for CMAT as well. Okay, so here is your first question. On the screen, I don't have a timer, but the moment I see 5 answers, I'll discuss it and I'll take you over to the next question. 5 answers, that's all it takes. Ashmita, score depends on the difficulty level of the exam. So there have been years where the exam is easier, so the cutoff goes higher. When it is tougher, it goes lower. I will look into it and get back to you. I'm not able to recall the exact score mapping for various colleges at the moment. Okay, so the correct answer here is indeed C. I can go with the majority. What is wrong with B? Investors do what other investors are doing and also follow their own analysis. This part is something that is wrong. In herd instinct, you stop looking at your own analysis and you go only by what the majority around you is doing. So that is why B can be ruled out. C is in fact the correct answer. Here is your question number 2 on the screen. You can refer to the passage by going back. Use the seeker to go back and refer if the need arises. Okay, so I have 2 answers so far. I need 5. 3 more answers and we can discuss it. Okay, that makes it 3. I'm actually really nice. Ek in Chirag hame. That's fast. Okay, I have my 5 answers. The correct answer is indeed option B. So they will not gravitate. So A, they will not gravitate towards different investments. They will gravitate towards similar investments. So A contradicts. C is factually incorrect. Instead of 1980s, it should have been 1990s. And D, human beings, that's again contradictory. Human beings want to be part of a community of people. So A and D contradict the passage. C is factually incorrect. B is absolutely spot on and is therefore our answer. With that, let's dive into the next question. Question number 3 on your screen, a vocabulary based question. What's your take? So, I mean, you don't even need to refer to the passage. You can treat it as a vocab question. If you know the meaning of notable, hopefully you'd be able to get the answer. And don't worry, it is just a warm-up. Fantastic, fantastic. Okay, I like when the answers come really fast. Okay, so Amritanshu, Saurabh, Ruchi, we have 3 answers so far. Make that 4 and 5. Okay, so the correct answer is indeed C. Notable means remarkable. Notable means worthy of attention or notice. So definitely similar has a different meaning altogether. Subsequent is coming after something, following. Significant, on the other hand, is something that can be termed as noteworthy, something that is sufficiently great or important. And then societal is simply relating to society or social relations, and therefore that can also be ruled out. So C it is. And with that, let me take you over to your 4th question based on this particular passage. Which of the following are examples of herd instinct? What's your answer for this question? So this is the last one based on this passage. Some of you are maintaining a perfect streak. Think carefully and answer. Okay, one answer. Samir is the first one to set the ball rolling. Okay, two more answers from Bharat Senior. And then we have Chirag. And again, Akin. Akin, you are being very consistent in giving the answers today. So I have, okay, we have 5 answers. So the correct answer is B. Now, A and B, both of these are mentioned in the last paragraph. I know some of us have chosen C as the answer, but you know the problem with C. C is true according to the passage, yes, but then think, is C an example of herd instinct, or is it a reason for the herd instinct? C is given to us as a reason, not as an example. And that is why any answer choice that has C can be ruled out, which means that options A, C, and D get ruled out. So C was not an example. That is why I had asked you to be careful. Remember? Not as easy as it seems, huh? So A and B are examples. C is a reason why we have herd instinct. So with that, let us dive into our next passage. Your passage number 2 on the screen. Just drop in a quick yes when you've read it. Mind you, it is going to be a short passage. This slide and the next one, just 2 slides. So just read it carefully. Okay, guys, do let me know when you've read it. I'm waiting for a yes to drop in. Fantastic, fantastic. Okay, so here comes the next slide, in fact, the last one of the passage, and then we'll dive into the questions. Oh, that's fast, Omkar. I know there are quite a few of you who are attending the session but are not able to answer because you've not subscribed to our channel. Huh? Just hit the subscribe button and start sharing the answers, guys. Come on. Okay. So I hope you are done reading it. Ready for the questions? So here is your question number 5, the first question based on the second passage on your screen. Why does conventional education make independent thinking extremely difficult? What do you think should the answer be? It is there in the first paragraph itself. So absolutely yes, the correct answer is A. If you look at B, B is contradictory to the passage, so this can be eliminated. C and D are both outside of the scope of the passage. They are irrelevant. These have not even been mentioned in the passage, so we cannot really make a comment on C and D. So A it is. Here comes the, oh yes, everybody has managed to get this right. CMAT can be easy at times, I know. So I have to kind of keeping in sync with the difficulty level of the exam. Here is the next question for you. Worshipping success leads to what? And in order to help you, just spend 5 seconds reading it. I will take you back to the relevant part of the passage and then we'll come back to the question. So here is the relevant part of the passage. So the answer is somewhere here. So give it a quick read and then we'll go back to the question. I mean, normally in an exam, you'd do that, right? You'd go back to the passage. So I'm just helping you simulate that. Okay, so here is the question once again. And now you can share your answer with me. Worshipping success leads to what? So I'm getting A and B, and the problem is A and B are contradictory. So it has to be just one of the two. So if you've gone through the relevant part, let's see. To be different from the group or to resist environment is not easy and is often risky as long as we worship success. The urge to be successful, which is worshipping success, which is the pursuit of reward, blah, blah, blah. This whole process smothers discontent. So when it smothers discontent, what does it mean? Puts an end to spontaneity and breeds fear. And then if I refer to the same sentence, to be different from the group or to resist environment is not easy if you worship success. So if you worship success, what do? You won't be different from others. You'll not resist the environment. You'll not take that risk. And if I look at all of these answers, B comes closest to that. You need to agree to what others do. You need to smother discontent. And that is why B should be our correct answer here. Right? So if you reject established practices, it acts as a risk in your path towards success. So you would not take that risk, right? You would rather go ahead with conformity. So D can be eliminated. Okay, here comes the next one. Why do most people want to find a quiet corner in life? This is basically more or less a metaphor. It's not literally a quiet corner that people want. And once again, let me take you to the relevant part of the passage and then we will come back to the question. So why do people want to find a quiet corner in life? Here is the relevant part. See, in seeking comfort, we generally find a quiet corner in life where there is minimum of conflict and then we are afraid to step out of that seclusion. And here is the question once again. Now that you've read the relevant part, I think it is going to be pretty simple, pretty straightforward. So the paragraph tells us, just to quote it, because they seek comfort. So C should be absolutely our answer. And with that, let's dive into our next question. Absolutely, guys. You guys are on a roll, huh? Question number 8 on your screen. Which word in the passage means partisanship? I'm not going to take you back to the passage. It's a vocabulary based question. If you know the meaning of partisanship, then hopefully you'd be able to see that one of these 4 words has that same meaning. So which one? Okay, so partisanship basically means bias in favor of a particular cause. Now, another word for bias is prejudice, and that is why B should be the right answer here. Seclusion is isolation. Seclusion is where you live away from others. And discontent is dissatisfaction. You're not satisfied, so you are discontent. And that is why we'd opt for B as our answer to this particular question. Okay, here is the next one. Question number 9 on your screen. The word uncomprehendingly in the passage means. So, you know, a single word can have multiple meanings, but the context can at times help us narrow it down to one specific meaning. So, let me take you to that context, to that sentence. Here it is. Read this once. I've highlighted uncomprehendingly, and then interpret it in this context, and then we move back to the question. And this should be easy for most of us who are working on comprehension. Comprehend, uncomprehendingly. You see the connection? All right, so here is the question once again, and now you need to tell me what uncomprehendingly means. So comprehension is the hint here. So comprehension means understanding. Uncomprehendingly mean without understanding something, right? So that is, Arey Ashmita, earning money. Seriously. When we yield uncomprehendingly to environment, B can be ruled out, huh? So it's definitely C in this particular context, pretty close to the actual meaning that the word has. And with that, let's dive into our next passage. So we started with a passage of moderate length. Then I took you through a smaller passage. And now I am going to take you through a passage that is slightly longer. I mean, it's a slightly longer, it's not significantly long. So you'd see a passage that is spread over 5 slides, although, or rather I'd say 4.5 slides. So gear up, because you'd have to retain a lot in order to get a sound overview of the passage. So here is the first part of the passage on your screen. Go ahead, get cracking. Okay, fantastic, Prajwal. Thank you for the input. 5 more seconds and I'll turn the slide. Okay, here you go. The next one now. Okay, guys, just let me know once you've done reading it. Fantastic, Prajwal. Prajwal is reading very fast today. Akin is also pretty close. Fantastic, fantastic, Ashmita. So here is the third slide. 2 more to go. Let's see who reads it first this time around. Oh, fantastic. So we had Nidhi, Abhishek, Amitanshu, a lot of you, yeah. Here is the next one. Fantastic, guys. Fantastic. Hey, this time around, a lot of us have rolled up our sleeves and got cracking. Let's do the same. Second last slide. You know, when you set your heart to it, you can read fast, and you know this. And you're reading just for getting an overview, okay? Oops, sorry. Done? Okay, so here is the last teeny weeny part. Done? Fantastic, folks. Fantastic. Absolutely great. So, here is the first question based on this particular passage. Go ahead, answer this and we'll see. Okay, so in order to help you a bit, let me take you through the relevant part of the passage. And here is that part. Since they were not, so there were two paragraphs that talked about Ritesh Kumar. The second paragraph of those had the suggestions. Since they were not documented earlier, we do not know what is lost, and as land conversion for agri, etc., that ecosystem needs a lot more research. So there were two things that he would ideally want. The first is document them and then promote the research. This is something that was not offered by Ritesh Kumar, and that is why the correct answer should indeed be option D, both B and C. Here is the next question for you. Which of the following is the major reason why Hans Joosten considers the global peatland database inadequate? So please dive into it and share your answers with me. A was not mentioned, Prajwal, it was mentioned elsewhere in the passage. It was not something that Ritesh Kumar had suggested. So we are supposed to confine ourselves to the parameters of the question. In fact, if you look at this question on your screen, anybody who does not read the question carefully may end up getting it wrong. So look at the question. Which of the following is the major reason why Hans Joosten considers the global peatland database inadequate? Now, peatlands have plenty of stigma attached to them. Did Hans Joosten say this? Yes, in the last paragraph. But was this cited to tell us why the global peatland database is inadequate? Let me take you back to that part quickly, okay? I have not really copied it here, so let's see. We'll go. Now see, this is the part in which Hans Joosten says why it is inadequate, right? And this is the part where he says, where he talks about the neglect of peatland is because of all these reasons. Whatever is cited in this paragraph does not talk about why the global peatland database is inadequate according to Joosten. This talks about why Joosten feels there is a neglect of peatlands in general. So going by that, first can be eliminated. If first is eliminated, options A and C are gone. Then it is difficult to locate a peatland. Yes, they are often mistaken for mangroves. No, not cited. And therefore the correct answer is option B. Right? Then here is your next one. So look at the question carefully. Yes, Hans Joosten said first, but it was not said in the context of inadequacy of the database, and that is why we had to rule it out. Next question, which of the following correctly describes the tone of the last paragraph? So before you answer it, let me take you back to the last paragraph. Here is the last paragraph. Read this once again, and then I will take you over to your answer choices. Okay, so here is the question once again. Now, part of the reason why some people struggle with tone-based questions could be tone-related vocabulary. So let me help you with that. the first word is rueful. If somebody is rueful, it means that they feel sorry and wish that something had not happened. Sorry is not that they have done something wrong. It could also be something that is done by others, and they feel that what others are doing is not right and they wish that had not happened. Then you have melancholic. Melancholic is somebody who is sad, somebody who is very depressed. And this may not necessarily come from outside. You know, depression is at times independent of the context. Then if you're critical, you say that someone or something is bad or wrong. And detached is you are indifferent, you don't care. So I think it is very easy for us to eliminate detached. Author cares. That is why he's gone on to write an entire passage on this. That is why he's commenting on it. Critical. Is he saying that someone is bad or wrong? No, he's just commenting that people have this negative attitude towards the second half, but he's not necessarily calling them wrong. That leaves us with rueful and melancholic. Since melancholic talks more about the nature of the author, we'd like to eliminate it. The best answer for us should be rueful. So the author feels that something is wrong and he wishes that things change. Look at the last sentence. This distinctly, markedly moves it towards rueful. Melancholic can at times be driven purely by the person's nature and it is independent of what happens outside. So that's why we should pick A as our best answer. Question number 13 on your screen. Similarities between peats and mines. And let me take you back to the relevant part. I think it was in the first paragraph. So here it is. See, peatlands are like mines. So this is where the answer is hidden. Read this and I'll take you back to the question. So here we are talking about the land mines, the bombs, and not the coal mines or mines where you dig and take something valuable out. Read it? Here is the question once again on the screen. So what do you think should the answer be? Okay, so if you look at the paragraph, you notice peatlands are like mines. There are two similarities given. First, you need to know where they are laid, and then you can take into account land use planning. Right? So, if I see this here, A is given, they're not properly mapped, both of them are not properly mapped, and they're hidden in the depths of the earth is not been mentioned. And since B is ruled out, D is also ruled out. When drained, they're extremely flammable, not given anywhere. Not even a part of the passage. So the only option that we can as a result choose is A. You need to map them because if you don't map, they go kaboom. They're hidden in the depths of the earth has not been mentioned as a similarity. Here comes the next one. Question number 14 on your screen. How do peatlands mitigate climate change? You know what mitigate means, right? Mitigate in this context would mean reduce the ill impact of climate change. So when you mitigate something, you reduce the impact of something negative. And once again, because this is an information-based, fact-based question, let me take you back to the relevant part. Here it is. So see. So read this paragraph and then I will take you back to the question, and hopefully armed with the right information, you are going to get it right. Okay, so taking you back to the question, here it is. How do peatlands mitigate climate change? They're mineral rich, making them ideal for agriculture, not mentioned. They act as natural flood control structures. Yup, that is mentioned. They absorb carbon emissions from the atmosphere, not mentioned. Ideal for disposing of dead plants and animals, not mentioned. And therefore, the answer here should be option B, as a lot of you have rightfully pointed out. And here comes the last question based on this passage on your screen. Which of the following words or phrases as used in the passage can be replaced by the word frenetic? Simple vocabulary based question. If you know the meaning of frenetic, you can find the answer. So go ahead and share what you think. So that's right, there is the meaning of frenetic. So what is extent? Extent means the degree or limit of something, right? How great or severe something is. What is the extent of the damage? You're just trying to figure out how great the damage is. Then you have accumulate. Accumulate simply means to collect a large number of things, particularly over a long period of time. Not linked with frenetic, can be eliminated. Haze. Haze basically refers to some kind of smoke in the air that makes it difficult to see. It can be fog, it can be smoke, it can be smog, whatever. And then you have intensive. Intensive means something that involves a lot of effort, a lot of activity in a short period of time. So the word that comes closest to frenetic here is intensive. So let's go ahead and choose D as our answer. And if you want to practice more passages, guys, we have these daily section wise quizzes that are uploaded. In fact, you'd find a pinned link in the comment box to our RC quiz. You can click on that link and practice some more passages by heading over to our app. So make sure that you benefit from all the material that we actually upload for you. I'd request my team, they've actually shared the link in between the session as well. If somebody is still tuned in from my team, could you share the link once again? Please, thank you. And then from tomorrow onwards, we are starting our series of 100 most expected Maharashtra CET questions. Make sure that you benefit from it by attending each one of these sessions. And in case you are a CAT 23 aspirant, we have started our new batches with absolutely mind-blowing features. I mean, it can't get better than this, right? So do consider it. And to make it easier for you to decide, we have our next scholarship test coming on 18th of March. So if you perform well there, you can get up to 90% off. And then we do keep on conducting a lot of other special sessions. A day before Holi, we'd have a session on how to maximize your score in CAT 23. Make sure that you benefit from that. And we are where you are. So make sure that you follow us at all of these places. And here is a thought that I wanted to leave you with. There are no facts, only interpretations, which basically means that you create your own reality of the world. So make sure that you're using the interpretations that are beneficial to you. If you enjoyed working with me, don't forget to like this session. And if you're new here, do consider subscribing to us. Until I see you next, stay safe, stay focused, stay in touch, and keep coming here for loads and loads of practice. And don't forget that we have uploaded another RC quiz for you to practice. Click on that link, it will take you to that quiz. And I hope that you do perform really well there. Until then, take care. See you soon.